Hello, Scorpio, and welcome to 2026. So, this year perhaps will feel kind of serious because you're going through a restructuring. But this is a restructuring that's going to be affecting or that will affect your everyday life. So, we're talking about restructuring your habits, restructuring your health, and kind of getting more serious and grounded when it comes to what you do on a daily basis. Now, this isn't by any means sexy or glamorous, but it is definitely necessary. So, if you want to know more about what 2026 has in store for you, stick around. You definitely don't want to miss this. Hello, my loves. As always, I hope that this video finds you well and in excellent spirits. So, this is the 2026 yearly astro forecast for the sign of Scorpio rising. Now, by way of logistics, I do all of my horoscopes traditionally, meaning that I do them by rising sign. It's not to say that if you're a Scorpio sun, you can't get any information from this, but this information really hits different if you are a Scorpio rising. So check the links in the description box below for the general playlist where you will find the videos for each rising sign. So whether you're a Scorpio rising or even if you are cross-watching for a Scorpio rising in your life, this is definitely going to be the video for you. So without further ado, let's jump right in. So first things first, let's discuss the core transits that are happening this year. So these are the major astrological events that we're all going to be experiencing. And the first and probably the most notable one is that both Saturn and Neptune are going to be entering Aries. Now, at the time that I'm filming this video, Neptune has already entered Aries, and it's made things definitely a lot more interesting, a lot more spicy. And Saturn is going to be entering Aries on February 13th. And for you as a Scorpio rising, they're both moving into your sixth house of work and health. So this is essentially getting you to structure your everyday life a little differently. And when we talk about structuring your everyday life, we're talking about your habits. And so the beauty of Saturn is that it helps build, Neptune helps dissolve. So simultaneously, you have the ability to enact new, healthier, grounded habits that can really extend your longevity, even physically, right? Because we're talking about health. While Neptune is dissolving habits that no longer make sense, are detrimental to your forward movement, and just aren't working for you anymore. All right. So, like I said, a lot less glamorous, but definitely necessary. Saturn is the planet of maturity. And when I say that, it's not to mean that you are immature, it's just that Saturn wants you to think about the long term. Make responsible decisions now that can affect longevity, that can make things last. So perhaps some of the habits that you are picking up at this time may be habits that can really help you establish your daily life in a better way, make better health decisions, make better diet decisions, be more efficient. Now, the thing about Aries is that Aries has a lot to do with our personal desires. So, the beauty of Saturn and Aries is like, okay, you have these personal desires. Here's what you can do to actually get those desires to come to fruition. Here's the work that you need to put in so that whatever you desire isn't just a random impulse, it's more of a plan, right? So Saturn's going to help you plan in this area of life. Neptune wants you to think about things differently. It wants you to be a lot more. Neptune is the planet of dreams and illusions. Let's just say that. And Neptune wants you to think of a new dream, have a new goal, even have a new ambition here. Okay. And Aries, and the way that it operates, wants you to be a little selfish. So, arguably in 2026, it's a year where you really do put perhaps work. And by work, I mean your 9 to 5, what you do on a daily basis, your daily life, your health. You kind of put that at the forefront of everything. So, that may be your main focus for the year. Okay. Then the next astrological happening this year is that Uranus is moving into Gemini, and this will be happening in April. And for you, this is your eighth house of transformation. The eighth house also covers shared resources, debt, and it also covers intimacy. Now, Uranus is the planet of surprise. It shakes things up. It's where we relinquish control and we kind of let the universe do what it needs to do. So you may find that in the area of shared resources and debt, things become a little volatile. Things are going to be kind of random. New debt may come up. The ability to tap into other people's resources may suddenly come up as well. You may find that, especially if 2026 is one of those years where you're very much concerned with paying down debt, getting that in order, you may find that that's a little difficult because the universe may have other plans in mind. It may give you surprises and curveballs. Now, it's not to scare you or to get you to not handle your debt at all. It's to understand that sometimes the way things work, it's not always linear. And you got to relinquish control in order to let the universe do its thing and really help you out. Intimacy may also be an area that's very volatile. Uranus is moving into Gemini. Gemini is a sign of communication. It's very airy, it's very youthful. There could be a lot of surprise communication. There could be a lot of communication that you didn't expect that could lead to intimacy. But more often than not, with Uranus entering Gemini, which is your eighth house, I would expect the unexpected when it comes to communication. And you may find intimacy in the weirdest places or with the weirdest people. You may find access to money suddenly. A certain conversation may lead to funding, like surprises abound, but it's one of those transits, and this transit is going to last for 8 years. So please don't think that this is something that's just going to happen in 2026. It may feel like a lot of it is happening in 2026 because this is the start of it, but this is kind of a slow burn. Be open, be curious when it comes to intimacy, be curious when it comes to other people's resources, be open, curious, and flexible when it comes to transformation. That's going to be the best way to use this kind of volatile and very surprising kind of energy. And then finally, we have Jupiter moving into Leo in June. And this is happening in your 10th house of career and public life. So when Jupiter moves into Leo, this is going to affect you quite dynamically because the 10th house is one of the more dynamic houses in our natal chart. So essentially, this is going to put an emphasis on career. And Jupiter is expansion. So this is going to be a time when perhaps your career expands, your business expands, opportunities for expansion are going to be emphasized. This may also thrust you into a leadership position, thrust you into a main character position. This could be going viral. This could be a lot of attention. This could be a lot of opportunities to change jobs or people want to offer you new positions. But keep in mind that Jupiter expands whatever it touches. So if your career, if your business is not doing the best, Jupiter is only going to expand that. And while the expansion may be uncomfortable, it can ultimately show you what you need to change. Okay. But this could literally thrust you into the limelight. And being a Scorpio rising, a major part of your personality may be privacy. It may be not saying that much. So Jupiter in your 10th house may be slightly uncomfortable for you. It may feel like it's exposing you in a way. And that's by design. You can't stay in the dark forever, as comfortable as that may be. And you've got so much to offer. Perhaps this is the universe's way of getting more people to see what you have to offer, getting people acquainted with who you are. It doesn't mean that you have to put everything on Front Street. It just means that maybe it's time for the world to experience you in a new way. And I think that Jupiter wants to expand you in that way. So try to embrace it in the best way that you can. Now, the other thing that I want to highlight in terms of the astrology for 2026 are the eclipses. The eclipses are super important, at least in my opinion, because it's basically four inflection points throughout the year where the universe snatches by our edges, where the universe can really effect change in our lives. But it's typically surprising, it's typically jarring. It's when we relinquish control completely and let the universe do its thing. So, the first eclipse is happening on February 17th. It's a solar eclipse in Aquarius, and for you, this is happening in your fourth house of home and family. Solar eclipses are the universe's way of bringing new things into our lives. So, this could be some sort of restructuring of home and family, adding something new. This could be like adding new family members. This could be adding new homes. You know, the fourth house also represents our literal home property that we own. So this could be the opportunity to relocate, to move, to purchase property, to invest in property. Something new on the home front is going to be happening at that time. And again, you kind of got to let the universe drive, take the wheel, and you just let it allow. Okay. But it's happening on the home and family front, and that's happening February 17th. Then the next eclipse is a lunar eclipse in Virgo, and this is happening on March 3rd, and this is happening in your 11th house of friendships, associations, and goals. Now, lunar eclipses, especially this one in Virgo, it's wrapping up this story that's been happening along the Virgo Pisces axis since the beginning of 2025. Your 11th house of Virgo wants you to have your goals. It wants you to have your friendships, and it wants you to have your associations neat and compartmentalized. And so while the South Node has been in Virgo, and while we've been experiencing eclipses in Virgo since 2025, it's the universe's way of cleaning this area of life up for you. So there could have been friendships that ended, new friendships that began, goals that became clarified. You were able to get very precise when it came to your goals and your desires. And now with this lunar eclipse in Virgo, that is wrapping up. And that is sort of by the time the nodes move out of Virgo and Pisces, which is happening in August of this year, you should have a pretty good handle on your friendships, your associations, and your goals. They should be kind of crystal clear. They should be organized, and they should be orderly in a way. All right. And so that's basically the main gist of this lunar eclipse in Virgo in March. Then the next set of eclipses are happening in August, the first of which is a solar eclipse in Leo. This is happening on August 12th, and this is your 10th. This is happening in your 10th house of career and public life. Now, remember, I said that Jupiter is going to be moving into your 10th house as well. So you're going to want to pay attention to August. August is going to be a very dynamic month for you because there's going to be expansion. It's sort of going to be this time when you're coming out of the shadows and into the light, for better or for worse. Now, because this is a solar eclipse in Leo, new things are going to be happening. This could be new passion projects. This could be a new trajectory in your career that's really in alignment with who you are and what you really like. And it's also going to thrust you into the spotlight with that main character energy. So this could feel a little jarring, especially if you're more of a vampiric kind of Scorpio rising and you kind of want to stay in the shadows. But this could really thrust you into the limelight, into the sun in a way that feels comfortable and, dare I say, enjoyable. Okay. So look out for August. And speaking of looking out for August, if you want to know exactly what this year feels like for you in a very specific sort of way, so you know, okay, in August, maybe these are the business moves I should make. Or around the eclipse in March, maybe I should really be, if there's a friendship that isn't working out, maybe I should let it go. If you want to know the actionable steps that you should be taking in this year, then you definitely want to sign up for my year ahead reading. This is where we look at your natal chart. We look at it in relation to the astrological transits, and I go through the entire year so you know exactly what to anticipate. So we go through all of that and map out what action steps you need to take this year so that you can make use of the energy constructively. So you're not lost, and you're also not being led by whatever is going on. You know exactly what works for you and when to take those steps. So if you're interested, the link to that is in the description box below. It's also tagged to this video. And if you're not ready for that, and you want something a little lighter, then you should definitely get my 2026 Rising Sign Map, Scorpio Edition. It'll tell you all the key dates. It'll give you some activities, some rituals, some journal prompts, so you know exactly how to use the energy and when. It's not as comprehensive as a reading, But if you're looking for something quick and referenceable, that's going to be your best bet. The link to that is also in the description box below and also tagged to this video. Okay, so moving on, the last eclipse for the year is happening on August 28th, and it's happening in the sign of Pisces. And for you, this is the fifth house of romance, creativity, and children. So at this time, we are going to be completely wrapping up the story of Virgo and Pisces. So your 11th house of Virgo, your fifth house of Pisces. And so at this time, there is going to be a culmination when it comes to a romantic situation, a creative endeavor, or something happening with your children. This is coming to a close. It's wrapping up in a very karmic and final sort of way. There's also going to be like a little spiritual element to it as well. Okay. So it's going to be profound. It's going to leave you with a new belief, a new sense of something, and ready to start a new chapter. Okay. And that is happening on August 28th. All right. And so that's essentially the eclipses in a nutshell. Of course, I'll be doing dedicated videos on each eclipse so you know what to expect. But for you specifically, as a Scorpio rising, that's what you can expect with the eclipses for 2026. All right, Scorpio. So to recap, this is essentially what's happening for you at a very high, broad level in 2026. Number one, 2026 initiates a more sustainable way of living with Saturn and Neptune moving into your sixth house of Aries. Your day-to-day is being restructured. Your health is being restructured for the long term. So think about what it is that you want to accomplish in your everyday life and health goals, and then allow the energy of Saturn and Neptune to get you to see the bigger picture, to dissolve whatever habits aren't serving you, and to structure new habits that can take you healthily into the future. Then we've got Uranus going into Gemini, which is your eighth house of intimacy and shared resources. Over the next 8 years, this area is going to be kind of volatile. So this is where you're going to experience upsets. This is going to be where your mind is going to expand, but it's also going to be the area of life where transformation is going to take place. Roll with the punches and expect the unexpected when it comes to that, beginning this year and into the immediate future. And then finally, we have Jupiter moving into Leo. There's also going to be an eclipse there too. So essentially, over the summer, this is going to be your time to shine. It's going to be a time when the universe may be pushing you out of the shadows and into the spotlight so people can really see and experience your magic and your magnetism. It may be a little jarring, but ultimately very necessary. All right, my loves, that's pretty much the astrology for you in a nutshell for 2026. Again, if you want to know more, either get my 2026 rising sign map, Scorpio Edition, or get a 2026 year ahead reading. All right, and if you want to know more, all that information is in the description box below. All right, my loves, thanks so much for tuning in. I wish you nothing but the absolute best for 2026 and beyond, and I'll see you in my next video. Take care.